Okay, so we're trying to recognize the main features of a persuasive letter. There are some important things to remember when writing a persuasive letter. You have to lay out your letter properly. You need an address, write the address of who you are writing to, so the recipient, the person that's receiving it. Write a greeting, so it's the recipient's name, full date, write about the topic and persuade your reader, close your letter, and write your full name. These are some, oh, you raised your hand. Did you have a question? Okay, all good. So this is really basic stuff. It's just what makes your letter look good, and it's the structure of it. So at the top right-hand corner, you put your address. You put your house name, number, street, town, city, county. County, they're saying that because it's American. Then on the left-hand side, a little bit lower, goes the address of the recipient, who you're writing to. So let's say if you were writing to Scott Morrison, the Prime Minister of Australia, you would write his address, whatever that is, somewhere in Canberra. This one's kind of a bit funny. 567 Banana House, Rosebery Road, Exeter, Devon. And then you need the full date right below your address. So the top right-hand side of the letter under yours. And you need the full with the day as well. And then the greeting is always dear something. So you might say, Dear Honorable Prime Minister. Or maybe it's to your teacher. You might say, Dear Mrs. Smith. Or maybe your principal. Or it could be like an organization. Dear Worldwide Wildlife Fund. So we always have that greeting at the top, and it comes with a comma afterwards. Then we get stuck into the argument. So you have to introduce the topic that you're writing about and state your argument, whether you disagree or you agree or not. So let's say, for example, I'm writing to Prime Minister Scott Morrison, and I believe that you should not have to wear masks. I don't believe that, but I'm just making it up. Let's say there's a person out there and they write to Scott Morrison, I strongly believe that Australians should not have to wear masks. So you have stated the argument and that you disagree with it. So one or the other. Then you start explaining in detail using words such as firstly, secondly, in my opinion, some believe that, I feel that, and I am sure that. So those are some really great ways to start your sentences, and it structures it so you know, okay, this is the first argument, this is the second argument, this is the third argument, this is my opinion, or this is an opinion of some people. This is called persuasive language. I feel that. I am confident that. In my opinion. That's called persuasive language. We also need to describe using great adjectives. So in order, sometimes what you do in persuasive text is there's a little bit of exaggeration, a little bit of embellishment. So you might use some adjectives to help you state your case. You have to argue why it's so good or so bad. You have to be enthusiastic because you want to try and persuade someone. If you kind of like give half an effort, they're not going to be persuaded by you. So you have to be really, really enthusiastic about what your case is. Use powerful verbs. Give reasons for and against. This is very key, and this is something I taught Iris last semester. We have to give reasons for and against. You have to be able to know when you're arguing something what the other side, what the other point of view is, because that is your greatest attack. Because when you know the other side of the point of view of the other side, that is your ability to be on the offensive. You can attack their point of views. So you might say something like, well, it is evident that some people believe that masks are important to reduce transmission of the virus, comma, so you have acknowledged the other point of view, and then you're going to refute it. You might say, some people who have respiratory conditions such as asthma cannot wear a mask because it will affect their breathing. So not only have you addressed the other side, the other point of view, but you have refuted it. So you've made an argument against it. That shows a really, really strong persuasive text. I would probably say that's one of the strongest features. If I was a teacher reading or writing, and you were able to do that, that would show me that you have great knowledge of the whole topic because you're looking at the other point of view and you're finding reasons against it. You can also ask the recipient questions to get them thinking and make them realize that they need this. And then you end with a summary of what you need. You have a closing farewell. So if you do know who the letter is to, close your letter on the left-hand side with yours sincerely, Linda. If you don't know who the letter is to, close your letter on the left side with yours faithfully and then your name. So sincerely is more like personal because you know the person. And if you don't know the person, yours faithfully. That's actually new for me. I didn't know that you had to differentiate whether you know the person or not by how you say it. So this is an example. It's really hard to read, unfortunately, but I will read it out to you. And then we'll look at the next one in detail. We might even have a break before that. Linda can show us some of her books that she collected. Okay, sorry it's so hard to read. I'll try my best here. So as you can see, top right-hand corner is the address of the person writing it. Underneath is the full date. On the left-hand side is the address of the recipient, who you're writing to. Dear Miss Smith, I'm writing to let you know about a very serious problem. Your monkey, Merlin the monkey. As you know, I absolutely love monkeys. They are beautiful, cheeky, energetic, and hilarious. However, I've had enough of it stealing all my bananas, and it has to go. Merlin must be given to the zoo. Firstly, I work every day to earn enough money to buy my favorite snack, but every time I go to eat one of my precious bananas, they've been stolen by Merlin the monkey. Friday evening, for example, he stole my best bunch. Is that fair on me? Secondly, he's actually breaking the law by trespassing into my home uninvited. In my opinion, you should only have pets that you can control. I know some believe monkeys are fun pets, but I feel that they should just be enjoyed by safely visiting them in the zoo. I am sure that you would agree. Don't you think it would be kinder to the poor animal? Merlin is, after all, a wild animal who should be spending his days climbing ropes, swinging on branches, and chasing other glorious monkeys around. You know it's true. Please visit the local zoo as soon as you can. I could even come with you. Do the kindest thing, not only for me, but for Merlin. Yours sincerely, Mr. Chair, your kind and thoughtful neighbor. All right, just wanting some feedback from you. What did this writer do really well? What was great about this persuasive letter? You can turn your mic on or you can type it to me. So I need some ideas from everyone. So you can type me in the chat or turn your mic on. What was good about this letter? Friday evening, for example, he stole my best bunch. Is that fair on me? So by asking a question, it's almost making it difficult for the reader to not disagree, because by that person saying, is that fair on me? That's using expression and it's making the reader think, oh yeah, they might have a point here. Linda said she used persuasive points and you can imagine what they're thinking. So I think what you're saying about what you can imagine what they're thinking is she used really good description. She described very specifically that what Merlin the monkey was doing. So on Friday he did this, then he came into my home uninvited, and listed all the things he did with good description. So you could imagine it. So it was creating imagery. That's great. She used persuasive points. Yes, there was persuasive language and she had arguments. You could tell there were arguments because she started with firstly and she listed it, and then secondly and she listed it. So firstly, her argument was she works every day to earn enough money to buy bananas, but then they get stolen. The second argument was that the monkey is actually breaking the law by trespassing into the home. Rachel also said the writing uses descriptive words. And you said there's a rhetorical question. Can you tell us which one's a rhetorical question?
So in the second paragraph, and is that fair on me?
Good. Do you see another one, anyone? There's another one somewhere.
Don't you think it would be kinder to the poor animal?
Beautiful. Thanks, Rachel. Thank you so much for pointing out a specific example of rhetorical question. For those of you who don't know what a rhetorical question is, it's like putting a question out that doesn't necessarily need to be answered. The way it is asked, it's almost like it answers itself. Don't you think it would be kinder to the poor animal? So you obviously know what the answer she wants there to be. So that's what a rhetorical question is. You're putting out a question, doesn't necessarily need to be answered, kind of almost answers itself by the way it's phrased. Very good. Excellent analysis. That's really, really great. Thank you for your contributions, Linda, Luca, and Rachel. Okay, moving along. Okay, sent Luca has feedback now. I'm gonna read everyone's, and Rachel, if you're still working on yours, you can send me yours. All the people that sent me theirs, it's fantastic, the work you've done. You've clearly had some experience, so that's really, really great. So this is Iris's. Hers is about electric cars, which I thought was a really cool idea. She said, are electric cars a likely option for Australia? Electric cars are safe for young people who love to drag race, and the old people who can drive but are afraid of gasoline cars. The dynamic for electric car is lower than the normal gasoline cars, so they can drive it safely and don't need to worry about car accidents so much if they drive it like normal. Excellent. So my feedback to Iris was that she had a great topic and she came up with these words on her own. Now, for my biggest thing was that her first rhetorical question, it was asking one way or another. And you want to make sure your rhetorical questions are more in favor of your own argument. So she was clearly arguing that electric cars are great. So for example, she might want to say, don't you agree that electric cars are our future? I think I made a typo there. So making sure that you always position your rhetorical question to support you. Okay, this one was Linda's, and I thought it was very, very funny. Dear Mr. Morrison, I am writing to let you know that a very, very tragic thing has happened. All the toilet paper is gone. I am deeply saddened by this action that has been done by the people of my neighborhood. Not that I have been participating, but I am here to tell you that I think we should have a toilet paper supply warehouse in every neighborhood because, as you have read, there is a tremendously large amount of toilet paper shortage. Please take this into your thought. Sincerely, your very angry and worried people of Australia. Now, I really like Linda's because it had humor and it was relevant, but she had great persuasive language. What I thought she could have done better is, I wrote it here, to focus in on one argument a little bit more. So I think she tried to do an introduction almost, but if you were doing an argument, you'd need to focus on one specific thing. Okay, good. Luca had an awesome one about monkeys. So relevant to the letter that we just read. He said, because monkeys like freedom, if they are not in the zoo, they can be locked up at home. If monkeys lose their freedom, they will definitely make a big fuss. However, if they let it out, some people will definitely want to take pictures with it, so they should send it back to the zoo. I loved Luca, how he chose to write about what was relevant to the letter we read, and it was a great argument and the language that he used. My suggestion to him was that he stick to the argument he made about freedom, because that's such an important point, and I think he could have explained even more why animals need freedom. Okay. Rachel said, why should we all read books? Apparently the practice of reading books definitely creates cognitive engagement that improves lots of things, including vocabulary and thinking skills. Great. So yours sounds more like an introduction, which is fine. What I was really looking for was a persuasive argument. So it was specific to your argument. So you think that people should read books. So you would have wanted to hone in on more about that in one of your arguments. So maybe just about the cognitive engagement and then explain that more. This is excellent writing, everyone. I'm going to show you what I wrote. We can all have a look. I wrote about Merlin the monkey. Okay, so I wrote a third argument. I said, thirdly, it is quite unsanitary having an animal go through someone's food. Hygiene is very important, especially in times like these. Can you imagine what it would be like if some other wild animal, say a pig, went rummaging through your kitchen? I do not know where your monkey's claws have been, and it is worrisome that I could catch some infectious disease. I strongly urge you to return Merlin to his wild community where he belongs. This is a matter of safety. So there's definitely some things I could work on, but I think the persuasive language and emotive language, something that makes you feel emotion, was important there, and the rhetorical question. Excellent writing, everyone. Now, before we go on our break, let's just have a quick brain break. So stretch out your arms. And Linda, I was hoping you could show us one of your books that you collected from Kohl's.
Yep, so I'm going to show you my favorite. So the good thing is my mom on yesterday or the day before that. So that was Thursday. She went shopping and she bought 4 of them back. The funny thing is I got 2 of these and 2 of these.
What are their titles?
There's the Elephant on a Bicycle
And
then Jill's Little Book of Big Animals. No, Jill's Big Book of Animals.
So it's a series? It's called The Little Treehouse or something?
Not like a series, it's just separate books.
And like, how difficult are they to read? Like, what age group?
Not very difficult. So my idea is I'm not going to read these. I'm going to keep these in perfect shape and then I can read these. See, because if you read them, they have like dents in them.
Can you open up one so I see what it looks like?
Like you can really read it clearly.
It's like a mini chapter book.
Yeah. And in this book, there's about, on the back you can draw stuff on there, but I'm not going to.
Do you think a grade 3 could read them or it's too hard?
Yeah, grade 3 could. It's really easy. Okay. I read them in grade 3 at my old school.
Can you read us a page?
Okay. Okay. As annoying as frogpotamuses might be, however, then so I have one on the very angry duck.
Ooh.
And before that was the frogpotamus.
Frogpotamus.
Yeah, it's a frog and a hippopotamus.
Oh my goodness. So they're all about animals.
Yeah, because like in the series I read in grade 3, so there's 2 main characters called Andy and Terry, and they have like a tree. They built a tree house.
Oh, it's that series.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then they wrote these.
That is so good. Okay,
yeah.
That's awesome to know. I definitely need to collect some.
And my second favorite would probably be this. There's just barks in here. See?
Oh, it just says bark. Is it meant to be a dog?
Yeah, it's Barky the barking dog.
Thanks for sharing, Linda. That's awesome. I definitely need to go collect some. Okay, well, I thought we've done really, really great work for the first half of our class. I'm super impressed by all of your knowledge already of persuasive writing, and the level of writing that you're doing is really, really good, and you're all taking feedback really well. So what I'm gonna say is we're gonna have a 10-minute break, then we're gonna come back and continue. We're gonna look at this. Let me just share with you so you see what it is. Oh, look, Rachel even wrote some more. She's such a legend, Rachel. To start with, why should we all read books? Apparently, the practice of reading books definitely creates cognitive engagement that improves lots of things, including vocabulary and thinking skills. If you are bored, why don't you read books? Great rhetorical question. Thank you for focusing in on one topic, on one argument. That's really good. Analyzing the features of a persuasive letter. As you read through the letter, you might like to draw people's attention, that's you, to the key features of a persuasive letter or to some other important features in the text. Now, these are the features that you're looking for, and they're all color-coded. So any language you see in orange shows you that persuasive writing is written in the first person. Any language that you see in blue are rhetorical questions. Purple is something called flattery. Can someone explain to me what flattery is in our context here in persuasive writing? Anybody know what flattery is or what it is for in persuasive writing? Rachel, do you know? No? So if I flatter you, that means I'm saying something nice about you. So I'm trying to basically trying to persuade you by saying nice things about you. So I might say,
I heard that word, but I haven't heard the word flattery before.
yeah. So yeah, you've heard flatter probably, like, oh, that's very flattering. But flattery is like the exercise of flattering someone, of making them feel good about themselves so that they're like, oh, this person has something good to say. So you might say something like, because you are an intelligent, educated person, you will surely agree with my argument. So you're flattering them by saying, you're intelligent, you're educated, so therefore, what I'm about to say should make sense to you. So not only are you making them feel good about themselves, but it's a technique or a strategy to make them be persuaded by you. We'll look at examples in purple. Emotive language. What do you think that means? It's got like a root word in it. What do you think emotive language is?
Like language that shows a certain type of emotion.
So we're drawing on emotions. You might, let's say you're talking about pandas being endangered. You might write some emotive language because you want to draw and pull on your reader's heartstrings about how cute and cuddly and lovely pandas are, and how they shouldn't be endangered, they should be protected. So emotive language, you might make them feel really sad about something. Maybe you make them feel really excited about something. You're drawing on their emotions. Generalization, in this kind of teal color, you're making a general statement, which then later gets supported by more specific arguments. But a generalization is like kind of like the general argument. In this magenta color, exaggeration, those are really key to persuasive text. So you're always kind of embellishing something, exaggerating something to make someone agree with you. Formal tone in green, very, very important about persuasive. It's not slang, it's not informal, it's very formal, the language that you're using. The red, adverbials to organize points and link paragraphs. We're going to see that later on. So things like this firstly, secondly, finally, those are called adverbials. That kind of language to link and to introduce that you know there's another argument coming. And in light blue, arguments supported by facts and evidence. So we're going to be looking at this letter, and you're looking for these things that are in those colors. I'm going to read you who this is addressed to, then I'm going to call on certain people to read. So this is addressed to Animal and Pest Control, Fairytale Forest Council, 15 Gingerbread Lane in Tailtown. And there's the zip code, Dear Sir or Madam. So I would love if, Linda, can you read the first paragraph?
I'm writing to you to request your help in eradicating a tree menace, which has been plaguing our previous forest for months.
Plaguing our
precious forest for months. I've had no reply to my previous 3 letters. I hope that the following will be enough to prompt some sort of action on your part. The menace of which I speak is, of course, little girls.
Oh dear. Okay, let's break that down. So, green, I am writing to you to request, previous, on your part, of which I speak is. That's a formal tone. I am writing to you to request. So you're not saying, hey, I'm writing this letter because you need to pay attention to me. That would be very informal. You are using formal language like request, of which I speak is, my previous 3 letters. So previous is a formal tone. You wouldn't say those other letters I wrote to you before. Okay, so formal language. This magenta color, true menace, plaguing, and menace again, exaggerating something. So obviously this person's having an issue with little girls, but they're exaggerating them by calling them a menace. A menace is something that's really, really annoying, and it can have a negative effect on you. It's a menace. Plaguing our precious forest. Plaguing is like a word that you use for a disease. So that's very much over exaggeration. Precious is in black, emotive language. They're making it sound like it's precious to them, it's important to them. Okay, and all the ones that you see in orange, our, my, I, that's all first person. Rachel, can you read this? Next paragraph.
Firstly, it becomes instantly clear to anyone who takes a leisurely stroll through our dear fairy tale forest that the presence of little girl has done nothing but damage this once beautiful and sacred natural habitat. Our footpaths, which once meandered delicately between the trees, touched only by animals and falling leaves, are now brutally eroded and scuffed by many pairs of skipping feet. This horrendous being do not tread lightly when making their way through some dappled forest. No, they felt the need to skip and bounce, thundering between the trees, kicking up dust and singing tunelessly as they go. The noise pollution alone caused by the incessant crooning has driven away the woodland birds.
Okay, lots of exaggeration going on here. Great reading, Rachel. There's some really difficult words in here. This person is making out little girls skipping around a forest and singing songs out to be absolutely like it's the most terrible thing to have ever happened. So he's saying, or she's saying, the kids have brutally eroded the falling leaves. Brutally eroded, that's an exaggeration. Brutally is such a strong word to use, and eroded is something that happens caused by something like oceans or weatherware. So very, very strong exaggerated language. In green, we have the formal tone. The presence of little girls has done nothing but damage this once beautiful and sacred natural habitat. Lots of formal language in there, lots of descriptive language too. In blue, we have generalization. Firstly, it becomes instantly clear to anyone. So instantly clear to anyone, that's making a generalization. And then they feel the need to skip and bounce, kicking up dust and singing tunelessly. Going back up here, arguments supported by facts and evidence in blue has driven away the woodland birds. Very, very strong emotive language, lots of description, words that are formal. It's quite over the top, but it's trying to make a point. Okay, these are long paragraphs. So I will get, Iris, you can read the first half of this paragraph that starts with secondly, and then I'll tell you where to stop.
Secondly, I would like to discuss the lettering epidemic.
Good.
I emerged from my den last week to find what looked like a deliberate trail of breadcrumbs strewn across my path. Needless to say, I swept them right up so as to maintain the beautiful view of my doorway. If we are not carefully, and if we do not act right way, the careless littering could escalate today. It is breadcrumbs on the path, but what next?
Good, you can stop there. Beautiful reading, lots of really tricky words there. Littering epidemic. Anybody have a guess by what this person means by this language?
Well, I can. Littering epidemic. It's kind of like a similar word to pandemic, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, and also, I don't know this, but I don't know if it's writing this is maybe an animal or a person, because it says den. My den last week.
Oh, that's really clever, Linda. So maybe it's like a fox coming out of a fox's den or something.
On the top, I read that it said fox something, I think.
Let's
see. Weather and stuff, I think.
Mr. B.B. Wolf, the den.
Yeah.
You're right. Good catch. So Littering epidemic. So you compared it to pandemic, which is good. Littering means that you're throwing trash everywhere. And then he notices breadcrumbs everywhere, so he's annoyed by that. Okay, I'm gonna read the rest of this paragraph. But what next? Streams filled with cupcakes, candy canes hanging from trees. In addition, as if these loathsome beings were not content with filling our beloved forest with debris, debris is garbage basically, there is the bare-faced robbery, which occurs every time a little girl decides to collect a sweet-smelling bouquet of flowers for an adored relative. Did you know that 1 in every 20 daffodils was picked this spring by little girls? I'm sure that you will agree that something needs to be done before the situation gets out of hand. So this BB Wolf guy, he is complaining that the beautiful daffodils are being plucked by these little girls. He's really not having it. What about those 3 bears?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that for a second.
Goldilocks?
Yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about that for a
This
second.
is almost like he's complaining about the fairy tales, the little girls in the fairy tales. There is no one in their right mind who would not feel outraged and violated if this were to happen to them. Are we no longer safe in our homes? Should we tell our pups to check under their beds for little girls before they go to sleep? These criminals are getting away with breaking and entering, vandalism, and in my case, attempted murder. This week, I myself fell prey to the most terrible little girl of them all and her elderly accomplice. Accomplice means someone who's joining her in crime. I warn you, they're clever. They hide behind a mask of sweetness and innocence. And then, before you've even had a chance to fish Granny's knitting from between your teeth, they've set a murderous lumberjack on you. I barely escaped with my life, and I fear that I will have to live with my injuries for the rest of my days. That definitely reminds me of that. What was that story? It's not Snow White, but it's the girl, the wolf is pretending to be the grandmother.
Little Red Riding Hood.
Yes, yes, good. In conclusion, I am sure that you will agree that these vicious, obnoxious, and destructive creatures need to be eradicated. That means get rid of from our woodland, where so many of our friends and family reside. Without immediate action, I fear for the future of our forests. I implore you, I really am trying to convince you, I am urging you to restore our faith in our counsel by relieving us of all these pests once and for all. Yours faithfully, BB Wolf. Okay, that was a jam-packed persuasive letter about a wolf, probably from the fairy tales, that's feeling personally victimized by the little girls in the fairy tales. Things like Little Riding Hood, Goldilocks, all those little girls who claim to be innocent, but he feels like they're attacking his home, the forest and the woodland. Okay, so we're going to start planning your persuasive letter. So we're going to start by this. We're going to get clear about your purpose. You could decide to continue with the one that you started earlier, because you all sent me a paragraph earlier. Might have been about the monkey, about reading, about the toilet paper shortage. If you want to, you can continue that, or you can choose a whole different topic. Let's just look at a few topics if that maybe helps you. Kids should get paid for good grades. Students should have less homework. Penmanship is important. We should all grow our own vegetables. We need more holidays. Aliens exist. Gym class is more important than music class. Kids should be able to vote. School should take place in the evenings. Country life is better than city life. Children should be paid for doing chores. We should populate the moon. Dogs are better than cats. We should teach etiquette in schools, so like manners. All students should wear uniforms. I think we've probably done something like that before. Too much money is a bad thing. So these are all some great topics you might want to talk about, okay? Or you can continue on from the one you did before. What you're just going to do right now, and then we're going to discuss it together, is getting clear about your purpose. So you're going to talk about what your issue is. So maybe your issue is shortage of toilet paper. Audience, who are you writing to? Claim, problem, and what are you asking for? So in claim or problem, I actually want you to talk about what your main argument is. So that's all you're doing now. I'm giving you a couple minutes. You can type it in the chat, or you could turn on your microphone and discuss it with me.
My issue is there's not enough toilet paper, and my audience is Scott Morrison.
Yeah.
My blame/problem is that there's not enough toilet paper, and then I'm asking for more toilet paper.
And how specifically are you asking for it? What exactly do you need?
I need like a toilet paper warehouse in every neighborhood.
In every neighborhood?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right. I've got a chat from someone else. Let's see what they've written. Rachel says to me, the issue is that we need more school holidays. Perfect, Rachel, good start. And then you can type to me the audience, the claim, and what you're asking for. Great, Rachel, you're showing me what you're asking for. Can you tell me who your audience is? Is it the government? Is it your school board? Is it your school? Is it your principal? Is it all public schools in Victoria? Do it about the monkeys again if you like. And I also discussed some other topics earlier. You could talk about homework. You could talk about gym class. You could talk about being paid for chores. Maybe you think the minimum wage should be raised. Maybe you think that, I don't know. There's so many things that you can have a persuasive topic about. Okay, moving along. What you're going to do now is you're going to write a hook. You're going to write your introductory paragraph to this. So some of you wrote an argument already earlier, and that's fine. But now you're going to write your introductory paragraph. So you're going to think about your reader, who they are, what do they care about, and craft a hook that will appeal to why they care about this issue. So you're drawing them in. What is really important about an introductory paragraph that this doesn't say is that you need to touch on your arguments that you will be talking about in your essay. So you actually need to come up with your arguments right now. You need at least 3 main arguments that you are going to explain. So for example, if we take the monkey example, she's saying that Merlin should be sent back to the zoo because number 1, let's have a look at it again quickly. Number 1, firstly, she works hard to buy her food, and when he steals it, it's not fair to her. Number 2, he's breaking the law. Number 3, one of them was about health or safety, and Luca had a great idea earlier about freedom, animals having freedom. So you actually need to have your 3 arguments planned. So before you write your introductory paragraph right now, I want you to type to me your 3 main arguments. If you want to have more, that's fine. It's just more work for you. So what are your 3 main arguments going to be that you're going to explain in detail?
Oh, I have a question, sorry. Can we draw a plan first?
Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. So we need our...
And can I do the plan kind of like the one that's on the sheet, like the introductory paragraph and background?
This one?
Yeah.
As long as you list out your 3 arguments as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
Thank you. I'll give you some time to do that because it's almost the end of the class. So you need to plan out. So I'll write it in the chat so it's clear too, because I know some people, they need to hear it, but they also need to see what they're doing.
I just sent you mine and it's a bit messy. I don't know why. Sorry.
That's all right. Okay, Linda, I understand you were trying to tell me the structure, but I actually need to specifically know paragraph 1, what am I stating, and reason 1. I actually need to know what your reason is. So you might say,
okay.
Paragraph 1, I am stating that the toilet paper shortage is causing people to have a mob mentality and they're going crazy, something like that.
Okay, thank you.
So you do spend a lot of time explaining your problem, which is okay for part of it, but you also need to get into the part about why this is so important. So you might say things like, when there's a shortage of toilet paper, it makes people go crazy and they get this mob mentality and they start attacking each other at Woolies and Coles and stuff like that. So an argument like that would be, it's actually a danger to society that basic needs like toilet paper are not met. So you have to be very specific about what the argument is you're saying.
Can I maybe put that like people are going crazy, that part in my paragraph 3?
In paragraph 3? Paragraph 3 is more about Okay, so it's why you want to set it up. Yes, but the whole thing should be about why you need a TP warehouse, because that's what you're asking for, right? Essentially, you're asking for a TP warehouse. So each paragraph needs to be why that's such a good idea. The first reason could be people go crazy. The second reason could be people need to easily access it, especially those people in need, and something else for paragraph 3. So more specific, less about, sure, introducing the problem is very important, but then really stating about being very specific about why that's important, okay? So hopefully that will come out in your writing. It's probably harder to think about it abstractly. Hopefully it'll come out in your writing. Okay, so we have about 6 minutes left. So I got some ideas from Linda and Rachel and Luca, which is great. Iris and Kevin, you still have time to get some feedback from me about what your persuasive letter is going to be. Now, I want you to have a look at the rest of this document because this is very important. So this, I'm not going to get you to do this. I just want you to follow along and listen. So listing one reason that supports your stance and elaborating by giving 2 to 3 examples or details. This is a really great way when you're writing a paragraph about an argument. You list your stance and then you give examples, 2 to 3 examples. So you always need evidence to back up your argument. It's kind of like, what's that structure called that you learned in high school? TEAL, where it's topic, sentence, evidence, explanation, and link, I'm pretty sure is what it is. Wrap up your letter by restating your claim and then making a final statement, telling the reader how their support can have a positive impact. End by asking your reader to take a specific action. So this tells you step by step what you can do in your last paragraph. Great, Kevin, thank you so much. I'll have a read in just a second. That's excellent. And then you put a salutation, so yours sincerely or yours faithfully, and your name. This is a really great page. I'm going to send this all to you so it helps you write yours for homework. So don't worry, but I'm just going through it with you so you know what it's for. This is an excellent page because you can literally pluck these sentence starters and it will help you write a really strong persuasive text. I highly recommend that you use this page, you use these sentence starters. My position is, from my point of view, in my opinion, it is my belief that blah, blah, blah is a very important issue and needs to be addressed. Stating your reasons and convincing your readers. In the past, there was a frenzy over toilet paper. Now we can take action and set up a warehouse where it's controlled. It is important that, it is essential that, it is necessary, it's crucial. One major factor or reason for installing a warehouse is blah, 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 okay? Furthermore, moreover, in addition, this is excellent persuasive language I want you to use for your homework, okay? This will all be sent to you. These are words to show how you can summarize your argument. So this would be a really good way to end a paragraph or also your concluding paragraph where you wrap things up. It is my conviction that, so I ask you to please reconsider, blah, 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 blah. Now, what we're going to talk about right here is my favorite part. So if you want to get brownie points from me, you're going to do this part in your persuasive letter. You're going to address a counter argument. That shows that you're very knowledgeable about the whole topic. So you might say some people believe that animals should be kept in cages because they can be dangerous. However, it also must be recognized that they are animals at the end of the day and they need space to roam freely. Okay,